Have you ever had those days where you just like wake up in the morning and look in the mirror and like, hey, I look good? And then, unfortunately, you know, you have those days where you just feel terrible. You're just kind of like, oh my God, oh, that's me. Oh, gross. And you're just like, oh, I wish you could go back to bed. But you can't because you have a busy schedule and it just doesn't work that way. So today we're going to be talking about the importance of sleep. I'm sure a lot of us lack sleep. We want to get more, but we can't. We have busy schedules and everything. So today I'm going to be covering the importance of sleep, like how it helps us function, and the problems that people encounter where they have no way to sleep, and consequences of lack of sleep, and the solutions that could potentially help you sleep well. First, let me cover what sleep is. Sleep is like when the mind and body is at rest, circadian rhythms take over, and you wake up in the morning, and when you get enough sleep, you feel refreshed and alert, and you're capable of doing all the daily activities that you need to do that day. When we sleep, sleep affects how we look, feel, and perform. And it is a very big impact on the quality of our life. Adults typically need an average of 8 hours of sleep. And when we have sleep that cuts it short, our body doesn't complete all phases for muscle repair, memory consolidation, and the release of hormones that regulate growth and appetite. So another quote that I found by Epstein and Marsden from the Harvard Medical School Guide to a Good Night's Sleep is that sleep is a basic physiological drive like hunger or thirst, and is necessary for life and proper functioning. So sleep is also like as important as food, where we need it in order to function well, and often people neglect it as if it's not as important because they feel that they do other things and then they put it off. According to the National Sleep Foundation, sleep is essential for a person's health and well-being. And so we need our sleep, basically, to deal with all the things that we encounter during the day. Okay, now that I talked about that, let's go with reasons why people don't sleep. Typically, people have school, they have busy schedules. Like all of us, we go to school, we go through classes, you know, teachers unintentionally prevent us from sleeping because of assignments and deadlines that we have to deal with. But there's also work. Like some of us, we work multiple jobs. We have part-time jobs, full-time jobs, and then there's also, you know, some of us have to babysit, like we have children, or there's those little brothers and sisters that we get to watch and supervise, and we can't just go to sleep and let them do whatever they want. And so, what's ironic is that Matthew Walker, a professor of psychology and neuroscience from UC Berkeley, stated that you need to sleep before learning to prepare your brain to absorb new info. And unfortunately, some of us kind of neglect that, and then we just try to do our work and try to get things done, but it doesn't happen. So the consequences of the lack of sleep that we have is sleep deprivation. We lack the energy to do what we need to do, and other consequences that result from lack of sleep are accidents, such as this quote from National Highway Safety Administration: falling asleep while driving is responsible for at least 100,000 crashes, 71,000 injuries, and 1,550 deaths each year in the United States alone. So obviously it's not just an issue for us, it's also an issue for other people that are driving or doing work. Even employees 20% of employees in the United States that are even like shift workers that work at night, they have higher potential to fall asleep during their jobs. And so solutions that I've found to deal with the issues that people have that prevent them from sleeping, from the American Psychological Association website, from leading sleep researchers, said that you need to have a regular sleep or wake schedule. Usually they say that you shouldn't sleep with an alarm clock, like, so it's like your body wakes up on its own, like you get enough sleep, you feel good. Don't drink or eat caffeine 4 to 6 hours before bed because it prevents you from sleeping, and when you try to sleep, then it doesn't work out. Don't smoke near bedtime or waking in the night. Get regular exercise so when you actually try to go to sleep, you feel tired. And minimize noise, light and excessive hot and cold temperatures. And also cognitive behavior therapy, which is also for people with sleeping disorders. And so, in conclusion, I've covered like why sleep is so important, why you need it, and also like why it's important to our health. And so everyone gets their sleep.
Eunice, what did you think?
I thought the speech was good. The attention grabber was something that was really good, where some like a lot of people can relate to, most people. And she was talking to the audience, so that was good too. And then she had a lot of energy in the beginning, but it kind of slowed down like towards the end. And then the speech was structured well, and yeah.
And yeah, okay. I just want to make sure that was the end comment. Okay. All right, well, I like the rhetorical question, and you had nice vocal delivery right at the beginning. I agree that there was good energy then. And I was kind of surprised because at the end of the speech, it seemed to go the opposite direction. You just seemed like you were tired of the topic and ready to be done and bailed out on it a little bit. And you had a nice, thoughtful opening, and the closing just doesn't match it or parallel it as well as it could. There's a very clear structure that you set up, and so that's easy to follow. We're not going to get lost there. Most of the time you provide us with source citations. I thought there were a few quotes, especially in the first section, that were not being attributed, and it's mostly the presentation of data, so don't forget to tell us where you got the information. But there were several places where you did provide us with source citations, so I thought that that was pretty solid. You had some hypothetical illustrations. I think you needed a little bit more on the emotional appeal. And don't forget that you could talk more about audience experiences also. You did make the hypothetical reference to students having multiple jobs or having to have other duties and responsibilities that they're taking care of. So what's the consequence of that? Well, they're tired at the beginning of the day, which is when they're taking their classes, for instance. So that should be one of the things that you should be pointing out. It could be affecting their performance during the day or their relationships, any of those kinds of things. When you got to the solutions, some of the solutions are pretty straightforward. I don't think there's any controversy about them. You mentioned cognitive therapy, but you never tell us what it is. It's just something that's kind of dropped in there. In that second section, where you're developing the argument, I think you've got good information there, but it's not being put together as a coherent argument. It's just like, here's a piece of information, here's a piece of information, here's a piece of information, instead of building an issue as to why we need more of this sleep. And I think you need to work on the content there a lot more. And then, like I said, the exit I thought was just it seemed to go the opposite direction of the opening. The opening was so effective, and the exit was not quite as strong. All right, thank you.